Hi, my name is Eleanor Chan from the Life Design Lab at MHS. At the beginning of the school year, the project I chose for life design was volleyball improvement. Comparing my volleyball performance from the start of the school year to now, I've improved and learned how to become a better volleyball player, both skillfully and as a teammate. But I've also learned many things outside of being on the court that can be applied to my daily life. So this raises the question, what else did I learn? One of the biggest things that I've learned in this project is time management. Throughout almost the entirety of middle school, my weekday schedule consisted of school, free time, social life, and sleep. Occasionally, other activities were sprinkled into this mix, but for the most part, these were the only things that I had to balance. As I got older and became more attached to my phone and social media, the time that I had to do whatever I wanted to do turned into time wasted on social media and scrolling my time away. For years, I didn't take advantage of the huge opportunity that I had to experiment with new hobbies and activities to find the few that I was passionate about. This changed in January 2024, around the halfway point of my 8th grade year. I decided that I was going to go out of my comfort zone and try 3 completely new hobbies. Number 1 was joining BTSR, a running club. Number 2 was joining my school's ski club. And finally, number 3 was joining a volleyball juniors program. As I continued in these hobbies, I found that I was not very passionate about running and that skiing was not realistic to continue. However, I continued to play volleyball. Over the next couple of months, I would later participate in a Rutgers volleyball summer camp, as well as joining the MHS team. I knew that I really liked playing volleyball as I started to become more and more passionate about it. After beginning my life design project, I decided that I was going to try out for a travel volleyball team. In October 2024, I tried out for a Lego volleyball club and made the 15th national team. This was a great opportunity for me to improve in volleyball, but it also meant that I had to commit to 2-hour practices 3 times per week, plus all of the tournaments and traveling. On top of this, the workload given in high school is vastly greater than the workload given in middle school. I signed up to take honors and AB classes this year, where on average took 1 to 2 hours per night for homework, and sometimes even more. For me, this was very difficult to balance as I had not yet learned about the idea of time management or accounted for the sheer amount of time and commitment that this would take. So I had to figure out a way to balance school, my social life, volleyball, homework, and sleep. Normally, I don't like to submit work that I know I didn't give 100% on, but since I did not have very good time management, that standard was not always met. So I knew that putting in all effort to all of these new things would be a challenge. Learning how to manage my time was difficult. Some of the problems that I encountered were coming up short and not completing work to the best of my abilities, me finding myself procrastinating, not being productive, staying up too late doing work, and not balancing my priorities correctly. Additionally, I never utilized my time in class to get any work done, and this did not help my problem. This made me unmotivated to do things and even less motivated to do others. However, instead of allowing these problems to take over my life, I used what I learned from these problems to overcome them. First, I started planning further in advance. Instead of planning the days as they came, I started planning the weeks and months in advance. This is something that I continue to do, and it helps me to be way more organized. Next, I learned how to be more efficient when doing work. This involves efficiency at home and at school. Since there are only so many hours in the day, this was very important to learn in terms of time management. Also, since I couldn't play volleyball or work on my skill during class, I would also get large assignments out of the way during this class time so I could have more time at home to work on volleyball and my skills. Finally, I learned to be more disciplined. There are many times a day when you tell yourself that you'd rather be on your phone than get your work done. However, most of you know that this is simply being unproductive and it'll only push all of your work further back. So resisting this allowed me to become more disciplined. Learning these 3 things over the course of my project allowed me to become much better at managing my time. Moving away from time management, I've also become a lot more confident throughout the course of my project. Some early problems that I have faced regarding self-confidence in volleyball are experiencing discouragement from myself, my teammates, and my coaches. In the beginning of my volleyball project, I'd be disappointed in myself about making mistakes that I made while I played, and I convinced myself that I wasn't as good as my teammates. This was reflected in my morale during games and my energy towards my teammates. This not only brought myself down, but also sometimes disrupted my entire team's morale. This felt like an odd paradox that I couldn't escape, me bringing myself down and being further buried by a problem that I created. Despite feeling discouraged, I grew and learned from this to become more confident while on the court. I knew that playing with no confidence would stop me from improving. The process of overcoming this roadblock first involved realizing the harm that I was causing myself. Then I had to learn how to recover from my mistakes. Instead of being upset after making one, adjust whatever you're doing wrong to prevent it from happening again. After I consistently started doing this, not only did I play better, but I noticed my team's energy was up and we played better as a whole. Additionally, I took any and all feedback, negative or positive, to fuel my motivation to improve. Over the course of this project, I've learned that mistakes are inevitable and a part of playing competitively. Now, I don't let mistakes, negative teammates, or harsh feedback discourage me from playing to my full potential, and I play with much more confidence than I used to. I find myself yelling for the ball more often, focusing less on my mistakes and more on the game itself, and motivating myself and my teammates on the court. This applies to my outside life because I don't let mistakes get under my skin now. I'm confident in my abilities outside of volleyball and I trust myself more. I don't discourage myself if I do the wrong thing, but rather learn from it and keep working towards my larger goals. Despite having completed a project about volleyball, I've learned so much more about things that can be applied to my outside life as well. Planning my schedule ahead of time allows me to balance my priorities correctly. That way I don't have to blow off my homework to hang out with my friends because I'll know when I can invest time into my social life and know what times I need to finish other projects or go to volleyball. Now, I am much more organized and I find myself coming up short less and less. Also, if I decide that I want to accomplish any goals, I don't allow outside comments to discourage my confidence to complete them anymore. While these accomplishments may or may not have been intentional goals throughout my project, these are very important life lessons that I'll carry throughout the rest of my life. Thank you for listening.